What is up, Steven? Joining me in the party chat tonight, I am Daniel Hofflich, and this is Game Night. We're going to be talking about Cyberpunk 2077 getting delayed again. But might be a good thing, though. Might be a good thing. But is it directly connected to a launch of a console? Could it be Series X? Could we have gotten our first glimpse, or at least a foreshadowing of the Series X launch date? And more on that and why we think it's Xbox Series X. Then we're going to talk about The Last of Us 2 and our hype. We're not going to talk about anything spoilery because we don't live in Ireland and we're not Peter, and who's playing it right now and has been for the past couple hours. So he's not joining us with the podcast tonight because he is too busy playing that. But we're anxiously waiting for 12 o'clock. So anyways, those are the topics tonight. We got a couple more things on the agenda. We have this is Game Night, and this is the Game Night podcast. So if you're watching Game Night podcast or listening to it on Spotify, Apple Music, Google, everywhere you can listen to podcasts, just look for the blue and yellow logo. If you are listening to it or watching it, then you're getting the full package deal, baby. This is Game Night Podcast. We're going to be talking about all of those topics. And within Game Night Podcast is the Console Wars. So this is the Console Wars is a series that goes on Game Night. And these we will be separating the podcast into separate videos. And so if you want to watch those in little bite-sized pieces, you can. So that will be on youtube.com/Game Night Hype. So anyways, Console Wars, it's broken up into a couple of different segments, Steven, and they're really cool, exciting segments that I can't wait to personally just to dive into, because the front lines is going to be so funny and also
people love this stuff. They just love the console war. It's crazy. I don't think you really realize it until you put some content out there that people start watching, that how much people actually respond to this type of thing.
Yeah, so here's a little filler to fill this in a little bit, okay? Here at Game Night, we're just all gamers, all right? We love all the consoles. This show is called Console Wars because, hey, it's fun to talk about. It's fun to see the different sides to go at it, but we're not going at each other's throats here. This is a fun game night, but the front lines is what we're calling it. The front lines is just another name for Xbox fanboys and PlayStation fanboys that just, when they're on the front lines, they're on Twitter, and then they just unload their all their ammunition on the front lines whenever the opposite side posts anything. You know what I mean? So we're just gonna go through their comments and stuff like that and read them off. That's gonna be fun. We don't have anything today. But I
gotta say, though, I appreciate all the comments we've been getting on our videos. It's just really nice to see that people are actually watching us and replying to what we're saying in the show. And I know me and Danny spend quite a bit of time in the comments section responding to you guys. So tell us what you like about it. Tell us what you don't. I mean, just don't be mean about it. But it's social media, so people are bound to be mean. But, just kind of give us your feedback on what you guys think of the show, and drop us a line in the comments section on our videos, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, I mean, me and you both, like you said, we're really on that. Every time a post comes in there or a comment, we want to hear from you. So awesome. We're going to be starting off the show tonight. We're going to get into our main topic, which is this is the war game segment of Console Wars here. On the Console Wars series, we have a segment called War Games. And what this is we get inside the minds of Xbox and PlayStation, and we try to figure out what's going on. We come up with our own wild conjectures, our own wild theories. And here's a theory. Was the Cyberpunk 2077 delay directly connected to the Series X launch date?
So I didn't even think about this until you said something about it. And the more it kind of rattled around in my brain, which isn't very big, so it rattled really quickly in a rapid succession. but it makes like some sense because
Mhm.
if you think about it, I know my prediction was sometime in October, but generally, if you look at the past handful of console launches in general between PlayStation and Xbox, it's all in November,
Mhm.
like every single one.
And
So,
here's the kicker, man. Aside from another point that I want to bring up of why I think it's Series X and why it's connected to Series X, um, is because Xbox is notorious for launching their consoles right around that area. That is their sweet spot for console launches. I don't have the exact date anymore, but I think it was November 21st. For both Xbox One and 360, they both
I
launched on
had
the
this all
same.
looked up when we were talking
Right,
about
when
it.
we did this earlier, but it was the same day and it was in that same area of time. So the 19th doesn't sound like a
November 22nd for the Xbox One.
and then November 22nd for the 360 as well. So falling on the lines of November 19th is not surprising to me. And if it launches with Xbox
Yep.
Series X, that would be a huge thing. Obviously, this game is multi-platform, so
Right.
obvious it's going to be on PS5. It's and but Xbox and CD Projekt Red have kind of had this thing going on. We got that limited time, or not the limited time, but with the limited edition Xbox One X console, which I'm
That
sure
thing
they're
is
not too happy
pretty
about right
too.
now.
Oh my god, that thing is pretty.
Anybody who bought that, I'm
Well,
sure, is probably not the most like thrilled about it. They're not even going to be able to play their game.
if you're buying it for the looks,
Yeah.
that's one thing. But you're gonna still get the game regardless as a pre-order because it's what it comes with. Um, but still, it's a really awesome looking console, and honestly, it's one of my favorite console like kind of limited edition ones that I've ever seen. Really,
Yeah. Oh my god, I watched the relaxing end. Have you ever watched those videos on YouTube?
Mm-mm.
They're really good. It's basically like he wears white gloves and it's super quiet, and he just like and like it's extremely quiet, and all you see is like a big white room with the unboxing going on. It's so good. But he did an unboxing of the One X Cyberpunk. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. And it was really good. And the fact that like there's the sound effects that it makes and all that other good stuff. Obviously, Xbox really dug into this partnership that they've had. Keanu Reeves was on stage in a big presence last year with Cyberpunk, and then the
He's
year
so
before,
breathtaking.
he's so breathtaking. And then last year, and I mean, in the year before that, I believe it was on Xbox's stage where they had the big like glitching out thing going on. So Xbox has had Cyberpunk presence for a long time. Like they've had this kind of partnership going on, even though this is a multi-platform game. So what if it's a launch title for the Series X? I mean, like it launches alongside that, and then I don't know, PS5 comes out a little later, or maybe it came out already has come out, but you don't have Cyberpunk until Series X gets it.
What if they announce a limited edition Series X Cyberpunk Xbox?
I don't know, man. I was thinking, and then I didn't even put it down because like I feel like that would almost be like a slap in the face to those who bought the One X, and then they say, "Oh, hey, by the way, we have a Series X that's styled in Cyber." And plus, it might be a little too early. And if they were going to come out with
Let's
any
start
kind
team.
of if they were going to come
Yeah,
out with
Halo.
it would be Halo Infinite. So I don't know if we're going to see any special editions like that. Which, by the way, cool little side note: PlayStation 5 said that it will be extremely customizable. Like Sony said, the PS5 will be extremely customizable, and there should be like he said there's something about like a limited edition for every game or something like that because it's so
I mean,
customizable.
I really like that kind of stuff when it's done right. So Sony has a bad track record of making good looking limited edition consoles. Like
Yes.
there's not been a single PlayStation 4 limited edition one that I would want to buy. They all looked
Yeah.
blah. The art design was bland. Um, it just there wasn't anything appealing about any of them, for me at least.
I would say that the Last of Us 2 one that just got released, that looks really good. I like it a lot. It has Ellie's tattoo like etched in to the console, the entire
It looks okay. I
uh,
wouldn't buy one.
I mean, no. If anything, I'm upset that they didn't do a Final Fantasy VII remake one. Like that just makes no sense to me. I feel like they should have had a special edition for that, but but that's besides the point.
Anyway,
We're talking special edition consoles, but but yeah, I mean, like it is tied into the point here where Cyberpunk and Xbox, man, they've had the partnership going on, and that's just one example of it. And like, can you imagine if Xbox, like, their launch lineup includes Halo Infinite, Forza 8, and Cyberpunk? I mean, of course, multi-platform game. I reiterate that again, but like,
so are you kind of suggesting more along the lines that there'll be a timed exclusive, or it'll just launch with both consoles when they
no. I wouldn't. Good question. No, I'm not. Saying timed exclusive. I'm saying just
it'll just
kind of promoted.
Come out the same day.
Yeah, promoted like at the end of the trailers or whatever. You see the big Xbox Power Your Dreams and stuff like that. You know, like we see with PlayStation and their Call of Duties and stuff like that. PlayStation kind of has their brand on it. I think Xbox is going to have their brand on Cyberpunk and then launch with the Series X rather than, like, let's just say PlayStation 5 has come out already and they didn't get to launch with with Cyberpunk. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a launch title.
I get
what
you're saying.
So what if it was a launch title for Series X? And then imagine, I mean, you have Halo Infinite, Forza 8, and then Cyberpunk is the game that you're going to have to go out and buy. What if the console comes with a Game Pass? Like, you get a Game Pass for 7 days.
Like
it's not very long,
or free month or something.
I would say, like, let's say a free week. So that way, after you're finished playing a little bit of Halo Infinite, you're like, I gotta buy it. You know what I mean? I gotta play or renew my subscription. So it gets more people into the Game Pass ecosystem. But if you're like us, we already have it. We don't have to buy these games. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beauty of it. But we can buy Cyberpunk, so it's not like directly competing with it. You know what I mean? Like, we have to buy Cyberpunk, which is fine. Yeah. We're not spending $120 on two different games on launch day after spending $600 or $500 or whatever this console is going to cost. $400 maybe.
And I got $100 Xbox gift card through Bing Rewards. So
what? I'm already at 5,000 points, baby. $5 just for searching Bing.
Hell yeah!
Starting to sound like Xbox spokespersons here, but it's just. It is,
dude. If Sony had a Bing Rewards type system, I'd be doing that shit every day too. Like, it's just it takes no time at all, and it's easy.
I mean, that's the thing. Game Pass is such a killer app. Like, you talk about killer apps. Like, what are you launching with? Like, what's your big game? Xbox is not only launching with Halo Infinite, but here's Game Pass as well, which you have hundreds of games that you can play for like $10. If you don't want to buy, I'm sorry. If you buy Game Pass, you get Halo Infinite. Like, I was going to say, if you don't want to spend the money right away, but no, you buy your console, you can spend $10 and you have access to 100 games right at launch that are all going to be enhanced. You know what I mean? Or they will all be enhanced and running on the Series X with smart delivery and all that other stuff. But Halo Infinite should be your big name. So, I mean, that's exciting. That's just really cool. And then the fact that Cyberpunk, if it launches with Series X, then that's a big thing for a launch lineup. You know what I mean?
I think it is. And the fact that, like you said, you don't have to buy Halo Infinite at launch. It's literally on Game Pass already.
Yeah.
So
you're not competing. Like,
and
it's not...
Forza would be there too.
Yeah, we're still waiting on a Forza 8 announcement. I'm not sure if we're getting it yet. But
I'd say if it was a launch title, then it would be included in Game Pass.
Can you imagine?
And I know people will sit there and say that Xbox doesn't have exclusives and this and that, which for this past generation they had a handful, and that was about it.
Yeah,
and none of them were on the same level as Sony's. No. But I think that's definitely changing with this generation. Like Microsoft's investing too much money in these studios to not have first party exclusives.
That's why we're so excited for July event, man. You know what I mean? Like we got to see these first parties, and just like Andrew, Mr. Xbox himself said on last week's episode, where he was like, "You got to come out and show us everything. Do it. Pull a PlayStation if you have to. Show us games that are like years in advance. I mean, even though that's not a very Xbox thing to do, show us games that are like 2 years away. You know what I mean? Like
2022.
Yeah, 2022. You'll get to play them. But yeah, I think they need to just come out full force. And can you imagine, like at their first party event? Because they did say that third party games will be there as well as first party.
I know. So from what I've kind of gathered is Microsoft's actually working with Ubisoft for Valhalla this time, because at the end of the trailer for it originally had Xbox end of it. Mm-hmm. So they'll probably show some real Valhalla footage on the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X.
That, yeah, maybe an extended look, or might be the first time you get to see it. I don't know, because you do have Ubisoft Forward. They're like E3 substitute event July 12th, and you know they're going to show the gameplay there. But we might be able to see some Series X. Like here's what it looks like. Like here's how it runs on the Series X. Like you can see like maybe gameplay at Ubisoft Forward, and then say here's the Series X advantage. You know what I mean? Like I want to see these kind of things at the Xbox event. Of course, that is for another time. We're going to talk about our Xbox predictions and
we're gonna have our prediction shows. Yeah.
We're gonna dive deep into these prediction shows. We're gonna have our Xbox July events predictions coming up, and I'll talk more about how I really think they need to show more tech side of things to sell us. Now, that kind of wraps it up for our Cyberpunk. That's the war game right there, man. Like, and if you're watching this,
I think that's good. I think,
yeah. In the comments, tell me what do you think. I'm sure you will, because you'll see some of these people. Some of these people will see Xbox in the title.
We've had some really good comments so far. So.
We've had some great people in the comments, but we've also had the front lines coming straight to game night. So they're there too. So if you see Xbox in the title, man, it's going to be, here comes the PlayStation guys. So I mean, and that's cool. I like it. It's fun. We got more on PlayStation later, guys, because the hype meter for PlayStation is maxed out right now. I'm excited for The Last of Us 2. So that'll be later in the show, dude. That'll be later in the show. We'll talk about that one. I want to talk about.
Me all tingly.
I got you tingly. All right. So I want to talk about this article that I read, Steven, and it was the PlayStation. Here we go. PlayStation news. This is the critical intelligence segment of the Console War series on Game Night. Now, critical intelligence will be where we take a look at news, rumors, speculations, announcements, and anything noteworthy. So let's do, this is from theguardian.com, where it says that PlayStation 5 exclusives are now more important now than ever before. So let's
really?
Yeah, more important now than ever. This is an article written by Keza MacDonald. Now, one of the cool things that I do want to point out was a little mention about Gran Turismo 7, and this is exciting. Okay, take Gran Turismo, the hyper-realistic racing game that has been synonymous with PlayStation since the 90s. Gran Turismo 7 is going to benefit from almost every single technological enhancement that we have in PlayStation 5, says Rudder. I gotta get his full name. Simon Rudder. Simon Rudder, which is PlayStation's EVP for Europe. Anyways, he says that the loading times will be next to nothing compared to what they have been in the past. Sitting in the cockpit. Oh, there's the word, cockpit.
Cockpit.
Cockpit returns from the EA Play word of the day. All right, so sitting in the cockpit, the 3D audio allows you to hear the thunderous roar of a Ferrari behind you or in front of you. And you can recognize the difference between that and the engine noise of a Maserati. driving the car uses the DualSense controller, you'll have a different feeling in your hands from the smooth, oh my god, that's a big word, I don't know, undulating tarmac of a racetrack compared to the gritty sensation on a gravel track. Pressing a soft accelerator will feel very different than pressing a stiff brake pedal or a gear pedal, bro. Yo, he didn't say bro, but I did.
That sounds intense.
This is what I'm excited for when it comes to PlayStation, man.
Yeah.
The controller. This controller. You know what I mean?
I think their controller is going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
Now, some of the microphone and stuff, and then the speaker in it, it doesn't really get used that much from what the games that I've played, but it's a neat little feature that they got in there. And then the fact with the new paddles on there that they're going to have for the triggers, and then the fact that they actually made the controller a little bit bigger too is I think it's going to be huge. But I'm really interested for that 3D spatial audio. Have they said if it's only going to work with those headphones or what? Like,
that's an interesting topic that I have no information on. I don't know whether or not this 3D audio is going to be built specifically for Sony, or is it just a rival to Dolby Atmos? Like, is it just Dolby Atmos? Because it sounds a whole lot like that, but kind of more geared towards headsets to like kind of get where your ears are supposed to sense and stuff. But the one thing I do just really know about that I'm just really excited about is that DualSense 5. Like, I mean, cool, yeah, like the speakers, the light bar, these are things, and the touchpad, these are things that are not necessarily like important to the controller. And obviously, like, Xbox has kind of gone the route where they're just like, we're just going to just give you the one controller, but with now it's got the D-pad and it's a share button. Like, and that's cool because Xbox has the best feeling controller out there. But PlayStation, in my opinion, I think PlayStation has, like, PlayStation 4's controller is just it's beyond. You know what I mean? It is beyond technology. I just feel like Xbox is behind. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, it feels like
when it comes to the way the controllers, like, just not just the design of it, but I don't want to say the gimmicky stuff in it, but it's like the gimmicky stuff. Like,
it's the gimmicky stuff. Yeah. And it's weird to say, but like, you'd love it if you have it. You know what I mean? It's just like I was telling somebody, I think it might have been Andrew. I'm like, when you go buy a car, like, heated and cool seats, they're not necessary to drive the car, but they're really nice to have. You know what I mean? Like, to have these extra features, like, it even has a tilt sensor. These are things that Joy-Cons on the Nintendo Switch are using that Xbox doesn't have. Like, Xbox still doesn't have tilt sensors. It doesn't have the any kind of speaker on it. It doesn't have a light bar, which, who knows? You know, maybe it's not like a necessity, but it is cool.
It looks cool.
It is, yeah, I like it. But these are things that PlayStation has, and like, they already had with PS4. They already had that advantage, and now they're really like diving into the PlayStation 4 controller even more with haptic feedback, which apparently is kind of like the Joy-Cons HD Rumble thing that they had going on. But I got to get my hands on the controller to actually know what this feels like.
I want to get on. I want to touch it so bad.
I want to touch it, man. I want to touch those. I want to touch it, dude. I want to touch the grips that have the PlayStation logos, the triangle X.
Right. I didn't notice that until I saw like an article about it. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
It's really like, it's weird. The console itself may be less powerful. You know what I mean? It is less powerful than the One X or the Series X. Sorry, it is less powerful, but I'm actually more excited about the way I'm going to play the games. And who knows about the SSD? I don't know. I don't know how this is going to impact games. The SSD on the PlayStation 5 has, apparently it's faster, but I mean, we're talking little numbers here. Faster. I mean, it might be bigger. I don't know.
Right.
But who knows how that's going to impact games? These are things that I got to see to really, you know, to make a judgment.
Like I was saying like I was saying in our group chat earlier one day, I want to see a side by side comparison on what this
Yeah.
SSD is going to do. I want to see a Series X PlayStation 5 hooked up to a TV, loading, whatever, to show the speed of this thing. Like,
Yeah.
I want to see what Sony has been putting so much stock in as to what the real difference is going to be.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's it, man. That's it. I gotta check out those Digital Foundry vids, brah. You know what I mean? I gotta I want to see Digital Foundry. Got to see the split side comparisons. You know how this thing's gonna run. Is it gonna affect frame rate? Is it gonna run better? Is it gonna look prettier on Xbox? I don't know, but I do know that that controller looks a lot of fun. Like,
Yeah.
and then like the fact that like they said in Gran Turismo right in this article I'll come back to is that you know, can you imagine like your one finger has the on the gas, right? And you're pulling the gas, it's cool, and it has that looseness to it. But then when you hit that brake to kind of hit the, you know, I mean, like when you push on a brake on a car, it's a lot stiffer than a gas pedal, and that's cool that
Yeah.
it's going to do that. I mean, that's just cool in itself. And then, yeah, and then just like the feeling of gravel is gonna feel like you're on gravel. The haptic feedback, that's something I don't know how that's going to work.
I think
I know the
I think
HD Rumble
with
was kind of cool.
right. So with the current, like, I think that rumble part with the gravel is going to be pretty similar to what you experience now, like saying playing Forza Horizon or some other off-road game that's multi-platform. But it's going to come to like the little feels that, like the spring in the controller and like when you're hitting the brake and stuff. I think that I want to feel in play, because it's easy for them to say that it's going to feel like that, but when you actually feel it yourself, I think that'll be the true test as to the difference in how the controller feels.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like being able to, that's why I want to see more tech side of things at these big reveals. And I mean, there's still a couple more months until, you know, the actual release of these consoles to kind of hype these features up. But I do want to see like, here's Grand Theft Auto 5 loading in 5 seconds or 2 seconds. I mean, that would blow people's minds to see a Grand Theft Auto
Yeah.
would usually takes like 15 minutes to load in seconds. These are things that are that the next gen difference that really is going to sell people. Other than the fact that these games look incredible, the new games. But here's how the old games. Here's how the SSD is affecting next gen and gaming in general.
Right.
Well, yeah, and then like to finish out this person's statement on the Guardian, which was Keza McDonald on theguardian.com, says that Sony's approach is a reminder that games consoles are more about tech than specs. Or no, I'm sorry, are more than tech specs. Their features and the selection of games that that your manufacturers curate create a culture around them. Nintendo specializes in consoles that are portable, flexible, family friendly, and fun. Xbox historically has always put connectivity at the forefront, centering games such as Halo and Forza that you play online with friends. Sony, meanwhile, likes to invest in a diverse portfolio of games to attract players who feel like or who like to feel as if they're on the cultural cutting edge. And I would agree with that statement because if you look at the exclusive games on PlayStation 5, they're super diverse. I mean, you go from Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7, and then you got Demon Souls, Returnal. I think, yeah, Returnal's that's a PlayStation. Oh my god. Destruction All Stars, Astro's Playroom, Ratchet and Clank, Sackboy, Spider-Man. Yeah, those are all the exclusives that were shown, or at least that I know of. I think there was several more in this article. It lists a bunch more, like Bug Snacks and Ghostwire, but I feel like those are not exclusive games on PlayStation 5. Could be wrong.
Could be wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, dude, they're third-person action adventures for most of them.
I was
Yeah.
I was gonna throw that in there, but
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, dude. Like third-person action adventure
yeah.
is where Sony lives, man. Like that's their thing. But they have these like experiences that you can only get on PlayStation. Like you can't
Right.
get
Like
experience like Last of Us 2.
It's not like me to
Anywhere else?
normally spend $60 on a player game, but Last of Us 2, I'm like,
Had to do it.
I got to do it.
Had
And
to do it.
honestly, Last of Us 2, when they announced it 2 years ago at this point,
Oh, it's more.
I was like, all right, now I got to get a PlayStation, like,
Mhm.
because I knew it was coming. Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the main reasons I got a PlayStation was for Last of Us 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
But I mean, there was also other games that I wanted. I had a catalog of games I wanted to play before Last of Us 2 came out.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that's exciting. I just wanted to talk about that article because it made me want to mention like the PlayStation difference right now. It's I know a lot of people are throwing around these specs about the hardware, but I think a lot of it kind of comes down to the controller in your hands and how you're playing.
Yep.
Is going to be like drastically different than how you play it on Xbox Series X. So like, let's just say Series X is the most powerful console and it does look a lot better, but it's not going to feel the same, which is interesting. It's an interesting concept going into this generation. It's not going to feel the same. We don't have haptic. I mean, Xbox is not going to have haptic feedback on their Xbox controller unless they haven't.
I have it on my phone.
When
I touch them keys, baby, haptic feedback.
Yeah, if you want the haptic feedback, you got to log into Xbox Smart Glass again.
but
yeah, so like,
I mean, really though, it's Xbox could potentially come out with a controller that's more geared towards that, but we don't know. Like, they might, we just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But Sony right now, I kind of think is leading the forefront and ingenuity in the controllers, just from the little things they're putting in them. Like, I mean, you could sit there and deny it all day as an Xbox fanboy, but the stuff they're doing is pretty neat, and it doesn't change things in a big way. It's more of like a little way in just the functionality of the game when you're playing it. So I definitely get where you're coming from with that.
All right, Steven, this comes to the next segment here. We're going to talk about PlayStation 5 again. The price was apparently leaked, quote unquote leaked, who knows, on a French Amazon site.
Oh, oui, PlayStation 5!
For USD, $499. This is bad. I can't do voices. Please stop me. $499. I don't even know where that accent was going, to be honest. It was like, I don't know.
It was
bad. It was bad. All right, so $499 for the version with the disc drive and $399 for the digital. This is leaked on. This was leaked on Amazon French site via Girl Glitcher on Twitter.
Glitcher.
Yeah. So what we see is just $499.99 for the disc drive. Now, Steven, do you think that we're going to come in $100 cheaper on the digital version?
And
do you think these leaks are even true? Like, do you think they should be taken to heart here?
So that is the price point I was thinking the PlayStation 5 was going to be at with the regular version. I don't know if a disc drive is worth $100 cheaper. Mm-hmm. I don't. Maybe it is an Ultra 4K one, so.
Right, I was watching a Digital Foundry video. Another shout out for Digital Foundry tonight. So watching a Digital Foundry video, and he did say that disc drives. He thought it was funny. He was like, "It's kind of interesting that they went with an all digital edition because disc drives are not that expensive to put in the console." He said that it would only be like $20 to put into a console, and that was very interesting. But what was more interesting was the other guy. God, I can't remember their names, but he followed up with saying that he's like, well, maybe they're trying to get you into that ecosystem of digital, so that way you buy their games at full price. You cannot buy a used game, and you have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you buy their game at full price, you can't sell it. You can't buy a used game where profits are not going to PlayStation. And then PlayStation also doesn't have to distribute them physically. So maybe they're trying to get people into that digital ecosystem, and they can turn around and say like, "Oh yeah, we know our player base likes digital," but really, it comes down to money. You know what I mean? Dollars and cents, baby.
Yeah.
If they can make more money off of digital, which I'm sure they do, that's where they want you to be. And if they want to take a loss on the console, like the hardware, saying the all digital version is $100 cheaper, and they're losing money off of those, they're going to end up making their money back through the fact that if you buy Last of Us on remastered or whatever, I don't know, Spider-Man Morales, if you buy that, you have to buy it digitally full price, and you can't return it and you can't buy it used. So they're getting all the money.
That so I'm interested to see how well Xbox One S digital edition, like in terms of sales, like how well that one actually did.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the first console that came out that was all digital.
Yep.
Like that was the only that, and it was, I can't remember how much cheaper it was than the regular one. That's, I have to look it up.
That's an interesting statistic I would like to know too. But that was also a couple years ago, man. Times are changing and times are moving towards this digital lifestyle.
Well, digital trend's been going on for a little bit now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. More and more people are going over to it. I was always a physical copy guy until Game Pass happened, and now I'm like, well, I don't own any Xbox games. You know what I mean? Like physically. It's I don't have in another lifetime if Game Pass wasn't there, I'd have Gears 5 like physical, probably collector's edition type deal, you know what I mean? But
my son does, but I don't.
Nice.
Yeah. Because it's easier to buy gifts as discs than it is to buy digital versions. But they're making it easier now. You can just give them a Xbox gift card, and you can even get digital codes for games. And
yeah, that is a very interesting topic. Like gift giving. I mean, you have to basically give the gift of Xbox Game Pass to somebody now, rather than saying, "I want to open Halo Infinite on Christmas." And then they open like here's a year of Game Pass. That does kind of take the thrill out of it. I've always been more physical copies. Like that's what I want. I want to see the actual game on my collection, so I can go over and spend like 5 minutes just staring at it for no reason. Like I like this, you know, this is cool.
I've lost that luster, kind of.
Yeah, but hey, I mean. Yeah, I mean, do you think $100 cheaper? So $399 versus $499.
So when you say Digital Foundry says it maybe cost $100 or $20,
$20, yeah.
Oh, maybe $50 cheaper, but
yeah,
could be wrong. I'm wrong quite often, so.
But I don't feel like as a consumer, I don't think $50 cheaper is going to be enough to say, oh well. I mean, might as well just, because the benefits in the long run is just pick up a physical, so that way I can return my games. But if somebody says if they say it's $100 cheaper, that makes me think, like personally makes me think, do I want the digital? Because I was all about the physical copy for the longest time.
Right.
But now I'm thinking like if it's $100 cheaper, I think I have to go with the digital route. And then like I think that's Sony just saying, yes, do it.
Do it. I'm looking up how much the all digital one is for the Xbox.
Yeah. Oh,
it's $199.
Yeah, that one came in pretty cheap. What's the one S with the disc drive? I mean, this is probably a kind of a rough comparison. I wouldn't, because these are older consoles, but
right.
But yeah, like the PS5, $100 cheaper, so that way Sony can get you into the digital ecosystem. I think it's possible, man. I think this leak could be true. But now, imagine if Series X launches at $399, and then your competition is an all digital PlayStation 5.
Ooh. $299.
Oh, so it is $100 cheaper on the one side, the Xbox One.
Right? Yeah, there it is, $299.
Mm-hmm. So $100 cheaper is the difference for the all digital and the regular. And I think that justifies the means, man. Like it justifies being all digital, and you can't return your games. Like you own these games. This is what they want. This is what Sony. This is what Microsoft wants. They want you to own these games, so you can't take them back. And you can't buy them used. More importantly, yeah. So, dude.
Now that makes me think it might be $100 cheaper.
I think this leak has some validity to it. I think if you go $399 for the all digital and then $499 for the physical, but dude, what if Series X launches at $399? Is that going to, like, people are going to look at it and say, I get a huge machine, super powerful, quoted as the most powerful console ever, versus an all digital PlayStation 5? And it's like, I need the disc drive. And then I guess if you look at it that way, the value is going to start. Like if Xbox wants to make that play, I'm sure they're going to lose money on it, but who cares? If they want to play it like that, they can. But if Series X now let's flip the coin. If Series X launches at $499 and PlayStation has 2 SKUs out, $499 for an all digital or for physical and $399 for an all digital, Xbox is all of a sudden in a very bad situation. You know what I mean? Like,
well, from a video I watched yesterday, the Microsoft top dog has apparently given Phil Spencer free reins on the pricing of the Xbox Series X console. Mm-hmm. He said they are flexible and they can maneuver that price to basically whatever they need to.
Yeah, so I don't think
like I've said before, and we both have essentially said it. Microsoft doesn't live off of Xbox profits.
Mm-hmm. It's very true. I mean, PlayStation, obviously, they've already been upfront in a way about like, hey, they're trying to soften the blow. I think they're really trying to soften the blow. Like they're like we're talking quality over price is what they're saying right now. Like Jim Ryan has even said something along those lines, paraphrasing, but it was like basically we're talking, you're getting a PlayStation experience for the price. So I don't know. I think they're trying to soften the blow, like saying, hey, this thing's going to be expensive. I don't think they're going to go $599, but $499 could be the thing, man. But like if they're doing a $399 all digital though, and then Series X is the full package deal for $399, I think that puts Sony in a bit. This is where the 2 SKUs are going to start kind of being a interesting scenario. Like if you have Series X coming out at the same price as your digital version of a PlayStation 5, and if you want the real deal, you have to pay $100 more. I don't know, man. And then Xbox saying like the Game Pass thing, if they really drive that in, that's where
smart delivery too.
That was my point last week when I was saying, will Halo Infinite be enough to outsell the PlayStation 5 during holiday season? Not obviously not the entire sales, because I think PlayStation is probably going to own again, but during this holiday in general, like just this holiday. So November and December, if that.
So we know the Spider-Man game it's a standalone game, but it's not like a full game. And that launches holiday 2020.
I think it'll launch.
What else has Sony got launching during holiday 2020 to compete with Halo?
I think that was my topic last week. Like that was legitimately what I was trying to get across. I'm like, you have a super strong lineup with Xbox, and I don't know what the lineup is for PlayStation. That's how it is, plain and simple. Like we don't know. Like Godfall, I think, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which we can make the point that Spider-Man is one of the most iconic pop culture things. So like if you launch with Spider-Man and Spider-Man sold really well on the PS4, I mean, that is a pretty big launch title, but is Halo still have that luster that it had? Like, is it still going to have people, probably not now with the current situation, like lining up outside, intense waiting? Like Halo 2 was the most hyped launch, one of the most hyped launches of a video game. Like,
yeah.
So does it still have that luster? Like, does it still have that killer app, for Xbox? Is it still a killer app for Xbox? Halo Infinite in July will have to prove us. Like the reveal for that, the full reveal will have to prove us
right
prove that point.
They have to show gameplay, dude. Like,
Definitely.
I still think Halo does hold a lot of weight, though. I really do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that was the thing. I really feel like it does too. And plus I feel almost as if Halo 4 and 5, it almost feels like people haven't had a real Halo game until since 3. You know what I mean? Like it feels that way as far as the hype factor goes, and as far as like that excitement. It's like almost 4 and 5 to a lot of people, or maybe to not the hardcore fans, but like the casual fans of Halo. I feel like they really don't feel like they've had a true Halo experience since Halo 3. And this almost feels like, oh my god, Halo's back, even though Halo 5 came out a couple years ago. It's like Halo's back, it's returning. Like that's
this is gonna reinvent Halo. And
right. It's like a reboot.
Whether it's good or bad, we won't know until we actually play it.
Right. So yeah, man, that's the interesting scenario there that I kind of want to ask the viewers watching right now. What's your thoughts? Like, let's just say 2 scenarios right now. This kind of falls into the war games a little bit as well. 2 scenarios. Yeah, like man.
Running in together.
What? 2 scenarios. Xbox Series X launches at $399. PlayStation's at digital for $399 and physical for $499. How does that make you feel? Like, does it make you say, like, I think I need to go for the Series X because I get a disc drive, I get a 4K Blu-ray player, and all this other good stuff? Or flip the coin, and if the Series X launches at $499 alongside the physical, and then PlayStation has a $100 cheaper model, like, does that spell doom? But as Steven said before, I don't think Phil Spencer's going to allow that to happen.
No.
So yeah, sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think there. Now we're going to go on to our final topic of the evening, Steven. And this is one. I mean, this is just kind of like just for fun, man. This is sit rep. This is sit rep of the console war. What do you have something?
Is this what? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just moving. I was moving over to the final segment, man. You got a final thing to say?
No, I thought I was just waiting. I was jumping to what I think you were saying.
Oh, okay.
Just finish what you're saying.
All right. This is sit rep on the Console Wars series of Game Night. And like I said earlier in the show, Game Night Podcast is the full package deal. If you want to watch the entire conversations, all of the Console Wars segments, and even some fun little commentary between me and the party chat. Just watch the full podcast. We talk about the games that we're playing. We just make jokes and all that other stuff. But if you want the console series segments only, you can watch those in separate videos, just like the one you're watching now, probably. This is the Sit Rep. Sit Rep is a fun segment of the Console Wars, where we're going to be having a hype meter pop up on screen. Haven't really finished the graphic for that yet, but there will be a hype meter for each console. And then the fun one, monthly report cards for Sony, Microsoft, and even Nintendo. We'll throw them in there. They had some Pokemon stuff going on today. But this is really between Sony and Microsoft in when it comes to Series X and PlayStation 5. But anyways, hype meter, monthly report card, and some game reviews. And so let's talk about the hype for this sit rep, Last of Us Part 2. Now, we don't live in Ireland like our friend Payter.
Oh,
Payter! Over there in Ireland!
Yeah, he kept showing us pictures of the countdown. I mean, bastard.
Dude, yeah, he's like, hey guys, I get to play it 4 hours earlier than you. He did the same thing with Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, he just send me pictures. I'm like, I don't like you, like that. I was like, I just don't like.
You're off the podcast. Get out of here.
Yeah, well, how are you still here? But he's playing it right now. He's been playing it for a few hours now. But Steven, what are you most like? What, dude? Tell me your hype for this Last of Us Part 2, man.
So, to kind of give my hype in a very easy way.
I do want to get this at the beginning of the video. I'm sorry to cut you off. Beginning of the video, I want to talk about, like, hey, if you're watching this right now, Game Night is going to be doing a 3-part series, maybe 3-part, probably 3-part series of Last of Us, our in-depth discussions of the game. We're going to be breaking the game into thirds. So basically we'll play, the game is rumored to be about 30 hours. So So we have 10 hours of a game. So whether that's chapters 1 through 5, I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Figure that out. We're going to be doing our in-depth discussions on Last of Us Part 2 and breaking it up into a 3-part series, mini series here on Game Night. So that's exciting. You can expect the first one to be next week. Steven, what's up, dude?
Okay, so I don't normally buy $60 single player games, but guess what? I spent $60 on The Last of Us 2. And you know what? It doesn't even matter because I know the game experience is going to be fantastic. Naughty Dog, you literally cannot go wrong with Naughty Dog. I don't really care what other people say. In fact, I don't even know anybody who's really said anything bad about a Naughty Dog game just in general.
Mm-hmm. I
mean,
mean,
it's a bug.
If it wasn't like, if you haven't if you see any kind of like negativity on the game, like especially like Last of Us, oh, Steven, wait a second, dude. I'm getting breaking news here. Breaking news. I just went to Twitter, and according to another Amazon France leak, PlayStation 5 will release November 20th, 2020. Take everything with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
This one is actually posted on Forbes, reporting the leak. Yo. Huh. November 20th, maybe? Steven? I don't know, man. But anyways, this can fall in line with Last of Us preview. Everybody's excited about that anyways.
Right.
So anyways, yeah, dude, Steven, if you see any kind of negativity on Last of Us or anything like that, it's usually like, oh, the gameplay wasn't really all there. It wasn't like the most thrilling gameplay. One cool thing that I was watching, kind of funny, in their podcast on Last of Us, the original Last of Us, I thought it was kind of interesting. They were saying like somebody said, oh man, the gameplay was really bad in Last of Us 1. Like the aiming was, I couldn't get the aiming down. And then everybody kind of agreed. They were like, yeah, I mean, I guess the aiming is not the best. And then I think it was Greg Miller that said it. I'm not sure. But he was like, yeah, but if you think about it, you got Nathan Drake, which is Nathan Drake and Joel and these guys, the Naughty Dog characters, they're not like professionals, especially like Joel. Like he's not like a professional. So his aiming is going to be a little off. He said maybe it was on purpose that the shooting mechanics were not like pinpoint precision. And I thought that was interesting. I'm like, did they?
That does make sense.
Yeah,
that does, because they're not trained killers. They're not trained assassins of any sort. Mm-hmm. So, of course, their aiming isn't going to be as exact as someone with that type of training would be. So it does make sense. It really does.
So like maybe the gameplay was like that on purpose. But as far as I've seen for The Last of Us 2, like the gameplay looks freaking amazing. Like the way you're maneuvering around the level and like diving into the grass, and like being in cover, but you're not fully in cover, as enemies are always searching for you. And then you have dogs searching for you. You have to be constantly moving, and now you have something silly, but you have a jump button, and now you can use the jump button to traverse the areas. Now you can dive, you can crawl, you can the melee in this game just looks insane. So I think there was one review, and I was trying to bring it up on Twitter, and that before I got interrupted with that breaking news.
The French.
Yeah. Somebody wrote in there, and I don't have the review up. I should have saved it. But he said that he started off like The Last of Us Part 2. I did not enjoy this game, and I was like, oh crap, what negative review? This is the first negative review I started reading. Then I started reading into it more, and like I'm like, wait, this all sounds like compliments. What's going on? Like he's complimenting everything about the game, the gameplay side of things, and then he was just like, this is a masterpiece, but and the game is I love this game, but I do not enjoy it. And like, and he's like, and I was like, wait, dude, the story. He's talking about the story, like he didn't really give any spoilers or anything like that, but he's just basically like, this is like Ellie's journey and where it takes you. He's like, it's going to it's going like just really dark, like emotionally taxing, and I'm like, for me, I'm getting hype. I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want this, dude. Let's go. And then he starts talking like, he's like near the end of the game. He said, I was trying to find ways not to kill people. And he's like, because the game makes you feel bad for killing people. he's like,
I was watching Alana, one of her videos about it, and she was like, you can hear like people take their last breath.
Oh my god.
And like there's some like dark details in this game. And they of course they introduced some new enemies. Mm-hmm. I can't. It starts with an S, I think, but she said you're going to end up hating them.
Seraphites.
Yeah. You said you're going to end up hating them before too long.
It's like, and that's Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny. I follow Kind of Funny a lot, guys. So if anybody's listening to this, notices my Kind of Funny references. But Tim Geddes said he's like, this might be the scariest game I've ever played. And then he says the Seraphites, and then somebody else was like, you mean, wait, don't you mean like the clickers, like the infected, like aren't? He's like, no, like those, I know what they're doing. Like I know what a clicker does. Of course, you're gonna have your jump scares with the infected and all that stuff. But he's like, I'm just terrified of the Seraphites because they whistle at each other. They're communicating in their own way, and I don't know what they're saying. And he's like, so like they can whistle, but one of their whistles might be different than like you've heard before. It's like, wait. Are you on to me? What's going on? Like, should I move? What am I doing? And like, he's like, you're always on your toes. Like you're always thinking. And if you know, yeah. So
I'm excited, man.
I know.
Fuck this. Let's go change our console region.
Yeah, let's change. What's going on? Can we do that? Like change the console region so we can play. Oh my god.
This is Ethiopia right here.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Just believe it, Sony. Believe it. Yeah, man. I can't wait. So that's why we're doing the podcast tonight. So that way Friday night we can play it.
Right.
Like typical Americans, you know, like they freaking Irish. The Irish get to have it early. Can't believe it.
I guess there's one good thing about being Irish.
Oh man, Payter. He'll be on the show as well when we're doing our Last of Us recap videos, which is going to be really fun, man. I'm excited to do like kind of like break it in. It's almost going to be like a book club.
Well, yeah, exactly, right. And it's gonna kind of we're gonna have our own, like we're gonna go through the same thing but probably have our own little spin on it.
That's gonna be like we're all gonna be playing this and taking it in different ways. That's really cool. Especially apparently this ending is going to be something that people are going to talk about, which the first ending of Last of Us, my opinions on that have changed too. Like I played it again, and now I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm on Joel's side. I'm Team Joel now.
Oh, you think he should have lied?
Like what he did. Like what he did. Excuse me.
Is it choking you up, man?
Dude, woo! Oh man, what he did. I gotta take 5. Like what?
Pause the stream.
Yeah, pause, man. Take a break. Let me play the logo. Let's play the intro music. No, man, like the what he did with the like to get Ellie out, and like basically just said, "Screw it, I'm killing all the fireflies and getting out of here." The lying part might be. I don't know if I agree with that. That's a tough one. It still makes you talk. It still makes you think, and I think that was what this with The Last of Us Part 2 kind of. It's interesting because Last of Us 1 was a good standalone game. Like it didn't really need a sequel, but apparently this game makes you say, "Oh, yeah, it did. I can't wait."
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah.
Hey, yo,
I just want to play, dude.
I know. I want to play too. It's 9:51 here, so we still got a little ways to go. But anyways, yeah. Steven.
I'll be asleep 12 anyways. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna stay up until 12 and play. Actually, if my wife falls asleep, then I guess I can't play because she's really invested in it now after watching Last of Us Part 1.
Oh yeah, you can't do
Yeah.
that to her.
So now I have to wait for Lara. So.
Mm.
All right, Steven, this has been a fun game night. Thank you so much for joining me
Yeah,
in this podcast. That was really
you
cool. I
know
think we
me.
got a lot of good content out of it, man.
I'm always here.
Yeah, dude. I know, man. I can always count on Steven to be there for this podcast. Awesome, man.
And I
always
bring
enjoy
it. I
talking to
bring
you.
it.
You do, man. I enjoyed our EA our EA reaction.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen
Yeah.
the EA reactions video, it's a fun one. Go check that one out. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Game Night.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Do we have a cool sign off? That we should come up with a cool sign off slogan like "Yo, it's game night" or "All right, party up, everyone."
Flip it up and flip it out, bitch.
Yo, flip it. There it is. Game night. Peace.